Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Great presentation by John from Lemonade before here. Delighted you're joining us today. My name is Soren Bassett. I'm the CEO of A9Q. I am incredibly delighted to be sharing the stage with Dina Otto. Dina is the COO of Stanford Credit Union, and many of you will have heard over the last couple of years, we are not competing with banks, we're not competing with credit unions, we are competing with Google, we are competing with Facebook, we are competing with YouTube, we are competing with Twitter or X or whatever it may be now. Dina really has to do that. Dina's credit union, Stanford Federal Credit Union, is based out of Palo Alto. Your members include Google employees?
Yeah, so I think the obvious, right? We started serving the Stanford Federal Credit Union started the Stanford community, and so we serve students, faculty, staff, and we continue to serve them. But I think as the students graduated and either started their own tech companies or started to go work for tech companies, it was really just a natural fit for us to start serving the tech community. And so we have our SEGs, or Select Employee Groups, we call them. So we have Google and Meta. And just by serving this community, it really forces us to stay on our toes. True story, if they go to our website and they feel like there might be a line of code in there that doesn't quite meet their needs, they will literally email us and let us know that they think that line of code needs to be fixed and exactly how they think we should fix it. So because of this, we really do have to continue to make sure that we're staying innovative. I think the slide says we were one of the first credit unions to launch online banking in 1994. Because we serve the tech community and Stanford community, we also serve a large international member base. And so we were also kind of one of the first credit unions to build in international wire service within our online banking so that our members were able to use that fee-free. So we partnered with Wise on that. And then Q2 is our online banking partner. And we oftentimes are beta testing kind of new features or new services for them, and again, it's just because the community served, we really have to make sure that we're kind of staying on top of things and staying innovative.
So Dina said you have been very innovative. First to launch online banking, you work with Q2, and if I'm not mistaken, you're also going to be one of the early adopters of the new UI being launched.
Yeah, so they call it the composable dashboard. So basically, it's going to be new menu options, and what that allows our clients to do is do more customization. And so the customization is going to allow us to kind of better serve our members and kind of recognizing what they need. So like payments, right? That's the big thing for everybody right now, payments. And so we're going to be able to have some of those features just more upfront for us. So it's great that kind of clients are going to be able to customize that.
And part of your Q2 service has always been secure messaging. And I think many of the people in here can see by a raise of hand, does anybody use secure messaging today? Good number of people here. And Dina, when we met, you mentioned that you thought that was an okay solution, but maybe not exactly what you wanted to put in front of your members as part of your future plans.
Yeah, so when I actually started the credit union in 21, and they have a team that they call them digital bankers, but they basically manage the secure messaging. And what the credit union saw is that from like 2019 to 2020, literally the secure message volume doubled. I think during the pandemic, what we found is our members moved primarily to secure messaging for their servicing needs. And that to me, when I kind of started it, I was like, okay, our members are screaming to use like digital, like they prefer to use that. This is obviously their preferred method given the amount of volume, and then that volume has just kind of continued to double. But we found though with using the secure messaging is that it didn't allow us to do the first point of kind of contact member resolution. That's kind of our goal, right? If we can service the member the first time they contact us, that's what we want to do. And what we were finding as we sort of looked at the data is it was actually taking 5 email messages to get those members' needs served. Because you'd have this like back and forth that would happen, right? They might have some more questions, and so then there was like this delay in the back and forth. And so at that point we started to realize that we needed to look for some kind of other solution. And we started to look for a digital engagement kind of platform, and ultimately selected Agent IQ.
And we got together early this year, and in quite a short period of time, we also actually launched the service. If you look at how do you feel, or what is the feedback you're getting in terms of how has the service improved the member experience?
Yeah, so I think kind of two benefits like right away sort of stood out. So the first is what I'm referring to as then the virtual assistant. So we have named Stan. Right, makes sense, Stanford, Stan. So that was kind of the, immediately what we saw is that members can, get those kind of quick questions asked. So what's my routing number? How do I renew my certificate? Those like really kind of simple questions. They're able to self-service and do that on their own. And that's been great. And then the fact that they can chat. Again, it's that kind of, first contact member resolution. They're getting online, they're chatting with us, and our team members can help them out, right away. So those are probably the two kind of obvious, benefits that we saw.
And so you talk about there's some member benefits, and how did your associates respond?
Yeah, the team members. So I will tell you, when we were launching Agent IQ, I was nervous about launching it with our secured messaging team. And in fact, I actually went to one of our executive management team meetings, and I said, okay, I just have to prepare everybody that we might have some turnover, right? Because these were team members that were used to just handling email. It was like you could get an email in, you can maybe lean over to your neighbor, get some help with that, email. There just wasn't, and so I was concerned that the digital banking team, just that transition to handling chat might be too much for them, and it was the complete opposite. We actually have our team members requesting to be on chat. That's what they want. One, they love that they can just handle the members' needs right then and there. What we actually found is they didn't like to do the follow-up. So those like 5 email messages that were going back and forth, they didn't like that. It stressed them out that they, weren't able to kind of help that member out, that they had to, wait for that member to, reply. And so, we actually have team members right now that, we kind of assign them out, and we have team members asking to be put on chat, because that's so it was like the complete, I went from like warning people that we were going to have turnover to like actually having, them requesting, so.
I think having members and their associates responding is really positive is of course extremely nice.
It's great, and I should have actually said that. We've had no member complaints. So that's the other, when you launch the virtual assistant, so Stan, right, I was concerned, that was the other thing we were concerned about is member complaints, and we haven't had any member, email us or contact us and say, I don't want to use Stan, to help. So that's actually been nice too.
I do think that speaks a lot to the way when we start our partnership, the way you look at configuring Stan.
Yes.
So it's meant to be augmenting the experience. It's not locking. It's not a mode between your members and their associates.
Yeah, it's really easy for the member to get. I mean, it's offered up quickly, and in fact, we go back and review. I was working with a member item earlier this morning and kind of reading through the chats, and you can see that when the member types something in that Stan can't answer, that immediately Stan offers up, okay, I'm going to connect you with an associate. Like that's offered up right away. And I love to see that, because I don't want the member to be frustrated because they can't get to an associate if they want to get to an associate.
So I would say by itself, happy members and happy associates is a pretty good outcome. But also believe you have had some, we're a group like this, we're going to be asked about hard numbers. What are some of the tangible and measurable benefits you've seen?
Yes, and if you know my COO, she also wanted to know numbers. So initially, we actually saw like the benefit within days of Stan. So we had 2, in our contact center, we had 2 FTE that worked chats, and we literally, like within days, we were able to take that down to 1 FTE, and we're kind of finding now just consistently that Stan is answering 45% of the chats, which is great for us, right? And again, it's also great for the member, because the member can just get their question answered right away. We have an after hours service, contact center, and within the first month, we saw a 70% decrease in calls overflowing to that after hours. And so I think that's a combination of the fact that that Stan is helping, but then also Agent IQ offers a callback feature. And so that it's been great because they can, the member can, basically leave a message through chat, and then, with the next business day or the next kind of business hours that we're open, then we will have team members that call back, or we call the member back to help them out. I think that's been great. And then on the secure messaging, so secure messaging has been launched for a couple months, and the first month we saw a 15% decrease in secure messages, and in month 2 we've seen a 30% decrease, and so I'm kind of just days away from getting my 3rd month report. So, and we can see the volume moving over to chats, right? So as the secure message volume comes down, you can see then that volume moving over to chats, and then you've got that kind of 45% split of Stan versus the agent chatting. And then I think that last week we were told that our Agent IQ's kind of #1 for video chats as well. So because of the international member base that we serve, we sometimes need to use the OTP, the one-time passcode, to identify the member. And sometimes there's an issue with that with international phone numbers. And so it's been great because just through chat, boom, we can launch a video session and we can do the identification that way through chat. So I mean, that's been great. And it sounds like maybe we're your client that uses that the most, but I think again, it is maybe because of that international member base that we serve, that's been a great feature. And that was another thing. I remember when we were working with you and first launching, I actually was concerned about the video feature. I was afraid that maybe members wouldn't want to get on video, that there might be like this hesitation for them to get on video, and we haven't found. I mean, that's obviously because we're using it, frequently enough that we have found that they aren't. So I think that we probably, I think on average, I say we do 10 video sessions a day that we launch the video session because we need to identify the member or use it for some reason. So I think that's been great.
I think one of the things that made you so particularly successful in the use of video is, I think, the context you think about it in. It's not that it's a chat channel or a video channel or a call channel. It's about combining the channels to find out what's appropriate for the interaction you're having right now.
I agree. I mean, this is, our members are used to, right? We all probably transitioned to this during the pandemic, right? You went to Zoom calls, and then you went to like IM, right? You started, using, Slack or Teams or something like that as a way to communicate, and that's how our members were communicating. And so now it's really great because they can communicate with, their credit union or their bank, like that. So I think that's just the adoption with our membership base has been great. And I haven't even mentioned co-browsing. That's the other thing that has worked. So again, through chat, we can launch a co-browsing session. It's funny, I used to walk by the contact center, and I would see like the contact center reps with either their own online banking up so that they could reference it to walk members through how to do something, or I literally would see them with their eyes closed and could hear them like on the phone saying, okay, now move to the left and click on, and you can hear. And now what's great is the team members love the co-browsing feature because if they can just launch it and help the member out and get the member where they need to be. And that was another, we were kind of concerned, was it going to feel too big brother? With whether either our members or even kind of the team members, was it going to feel too, and we haven't had any sort of, complaints or any hesitation, but our team members love that they can launch the co-browsing feature. It's been great for them. Yeah.
That is fantastic. And one of the things we learned very early on working with you, Dean, and the team is that you're not one to launch a project and say, now we're done. Now we'll wait for the next project and do an RFP. But so we have been live for some months here, and you mentioned before you're waiting for your 3rd month data on secure messaging reduction. But I know you have already thought about what's next. So
yes,
if you want to share a little bit about that?
I can. And and Agent IQ, by the way, didn't ask me to do this, but I will tell you, by the way, they've been fantastic about working with us as we continue to ask for more and more and more. So I think kind of a couple things we have in the queue next. The first thing that comes to mind is DocuSign. So this is a feature that wasn't available to us when we first launched with Agent IQ, and I think we're going to be launching that, I think, by the end of the year with you. So again, through chat, we can send kind of DocuSign to get our members. And this again takes us off of secure messaging, right? Because We don't have to then go to secure message and send them the DocuSign, documents, which has been great. We wanted to just get Agent IQ launched kind of with our retail teams, but what we're also going to be doing next year, the platform has a feature where you can basically add somebody to the chat. You probably didn't know the technical name for that. I don't know what you guys call that technically, but it's essentially you can bring someone in. And so we are working with our consumer lending team and mortgage team as well as payment teams to get them kind of ready and set up. And so if there is an escalation that they need, we can essentially, or say we've got someone interested in a mortgage loan and we don't have our team members set up to help them, that they can basically have a mortgage loan consultant come in and join the chat session and answer those questions or help, or even if you've got payments escalation or something and it's something that our team member can't. And so we're going to be getting that ready to go. We haven't launched that feature yet. We're going to be taking advantage of that. SMS is another one. Again, I kind of talked about the fact that we serve Stanford students. And so we're going to initially just launch that with, we have a branch on campus that was kind of the primary branch that serves our students. And so we're going to actually launch the SMS with our branch staff. And what they will do is they can use it. Now, SMS is unauthenticated, right? So you have to, kind of be careful, but they can do some basic answering questions, or even, they can reach out and kind of, ping the student. What we find is when students, if they open their account, say before they get on campus, and when they get on campus, if they still want to use the plastic form, because we have digital cards available that they want to, but we can remind them to come pick up their debit card. We found that getting the students to use the card right away is important, so that make sure that they use the account. So that's another one that we're going to be launching. And then we haven't launched this yet, but I know we've spent some time talking to some of your other clients who have, but the personal banker feature. So the way we kind of initially chose to launch the chat was that a member chats in, and then kind of whatever team member's available, they'll come in and answer the chat. But there is kind of what they call the personal banker feature, and I know that some of their other clients, I've networked with some of the other clients that have launched this, and we are going to go ahead and launch this because I think ultimately it is going to be better. But basically, the member can come in and see all the agents that could help them and sort of select their favorite agent. I know you guys talk about the team member that had the, life is short, eat donuts, and it sounds like she's their most popular banker. But what we've heard when talking to the Agent IQ's clients, what's great about this is that it's like coming into a branch and having your favorite employee in the branch, right? Instead you have your favorite kind of agent over chat. And then in fact, they trust that agent so much that after hours, they will send the agent a message through chat, and then when that kind of team member gets in the next day, the team member will see the message and get back to them. And see, I love that because I'm like, okay, instead of having to call our after hours, contact center, or feel like you're not going to get your needs met, if you just trust the fact that Soren's gonna, I know I can send a message after business hours, and I know Soren's going to get back to me. Great, Soren's going to get back to me. So that's kind of the other feature. So we got those probably 3 to 4 things in queue to launch. So we sort of did a little bit of baby steps just to get our team members comfortable with the solution first.
I don't think one of the you spoke about having the digital associates ready to help in the chat. But I do think one of the things that also, at least in my mind, has been very meaningful is that your members never have to repeat themselves. So even if I speak to Dina today and I talk to Claudia tomorrow, the conversations are persistent. So when I get to Claudia tomorrow, Claudia gets to see what I spoke to you about today. So it's not that typical chat interaction. I think we've all tried the AT&T or Comcast, where you have a chat, they restart your router, the chat goes away. When you open the chat again, because I didn't fix anything, they go, hello, who are you? I've never seen you before. And that is just an awful experience. That's not what you do as community organizations, is it?
Yeah, and that actually, I was referencing that I was working on a member issue, and it was great. I could see literally, as team members were kind of coming in to help with the chat, because it was a new person, a new employee initially on it. You could see, you could tell they went through and read the chats and said, oh, I can see that you contacted us a couple days ago, and you wanted your online banking blocked. Which was great that they gave. Again, that's the kind of that's the you want to know your member, you want to know your customer, and so that's thanks for mentioning that. That's been great.
Well, I think I've been told the big red zero tells us that.
I know it's zero.
We do have some of my colleagues here. We did put together a case study today. If you want to see some of the things Dina has spoken about today, see that in writing. So they are available behind in the room here. We're also hoping to lure Dina over to our booth a little bit later and probably do a live demo as well. So if anybody would like to just understand a little bit more what is this about, please do come see us. And Dina, again, thank you so much for the partnership and thank you so much for joining.
Yep, and I'll hang out by the booth for a little bit later this afternoon if you guys have any questions for me. So thank you.
Thank you.